Hey, college football fans, the Big D back and ready to break down all four of the CFB quarterfinal games. Before I put more sugar into this stream, please subscribe, like, and share the Driving to the Top Productions and the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. Also, check me out hosting the Big D podcast. First off, thoughts and prayers of everyone affected by the terror attack in New Orleans. Yes, on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Thoughts and prayers with everyone, and we put an end to this madness. Secondly, Happy New Year, especially if you're a fan, especially if you're a Nittany Lion, Longhorn, Buckeye, or Irish fan, because your team's still alive in the 12-team playoff. Obviously, first thing everybody knows, all four teams with a bye lost. Boise State, Arizona State, Oregon, and Georgia gone. All done. Eliminated. So apparently a bye doesn't matter in college football. It might in the NFL, but it does in college football. So let's start with Notre Dame and Georgia. To be honest with you, this game looked like upset. Even though I would ordinarily say being a 1-point favorite is not an upset, but most people on paper would have picked Georgia because SC's better than Notre Dame. Notre Dame did 0 for 3 against Georgia. Being one game, including the 1980 Sugar Bowl between the Irish and Georgia, where Herschel Walker helped lift the Georgia Bulldogs to a national championship. Trying to think of when they would have played. And then Georgia and Notre Dame played, I believe, twice. One was 2017, and the other would have been, let me see, either 2016 or 2019. I think 2016, but and in those games, Georgia's been able to handle, Notre Dame's been able to handle Georgia, particularly at the line of scrimmage, maybe not outside or on the pass ruptures. Tonight, I don't remember a Notre Dame team being more physical than Georgia. Everybody said, but Georgia's got the better players. They're in the SEC. I don't know. It looked like Notre Dame was just as good, if not better, than Georgia. Because other than one or two big plays, by Georgia's offense, Notre Dame really played them, particularly in the key situations tonight. And frankly, for Georgia, there were mistakes that we haven't seen from a Kirby Smart team. A couple fumbles, bad on third down, not being able to run the ball, which is a bad sign for the Dogs this year. And I think there was an early fumble for Georgia, which gave Notre Dame the ball, but there was a key play early in the second quarter when it looked like Georgia was going to go up 7-0, and then I think a walk-on defensive back ended up getting a penalty. Revoked. And Notre Dame pushed around Georgia at the line of scrimmage. Yes, you're all right. The Irish pushed around Georgia at the line of scrimmage to a tune of 154 rushing yards. When have you ever seen the Irish outrush Georgia 2.5-1? But it was a key play early in the second quarter when Georgia actually got 50 yards because one of the walk-on defensive backs hit a referee And instead of Georgia having like 1st and 10 on the 11, Georgia ended up settling for a field goal, which, you go up 7-0 or 3-0, it makes a huge difference. Then the Irish really got things going. Mitch Jeter responded with a field goal of his own, and then, my goodness, Notre Dame got uber hot. The end of the first half started the second half. Mitch Jeter kicked his second field goal, making it 6-3, and then, oh man. And then Georgia ended up fumbling. And then Georgia ended up fumbling, and then Riley Leonard found Bo Collins to make it. Literally seconds after kicking a field goal, Leonard made it, and the Irish made it 13-3 at the break. Yeah. Even though Bo Collins sounds like he's from Louisiana, is actually from California, but that's here and there. And then, how about to add momentum? Notre Dame starts the second half with a kickoff return. Jaden Harrison takes the second half kickoff, 98 yards for a touchdown, making it 20-3. And then eventually, after a couple big plays, Cash Jones caught a 32-yard pass from Gunnar Stockton, making it 20-10. And then Mitch Jeter kicked another field goal, making it 23-10. And that was it. I mean, there were no more points for the last 13 minutes and change. But to me, Notre Dame was the more physical team and the more adaptable team. It was a play midway through the fourth quarter where, fourth down, Marcus Freeman and the Irish looked like they're going to punt it. Instead, they pulled the old switcheroo, put the offense back on the field, and Riley Leonard hard counts the Georgia defense, draws them offside, and gives Notre Dame the first down. And then, even though the Irish ended up punting, Notre Dame ended up taking 7+ minutes off the clock. So instead of getting the ball back with 7 minutes, Georgia got it under 2 minutes without any timeouts. So, who knows if Georgia would have scored. And then, frankly, Georgia's offense was not great tonight. I mean, the Dogs cannot get anything established rushing, bad on third down, bad on fourth down. I mean, Georgia was to combine 2 of 15 on third and fourth downs tonight. And the Dogs only rushed for 62 yards. Not even, barely 2 yards a pop. Meanwhile, Notre Dame rushed the ball for 154 yards. Not great, but good enough against Georgia's defense. And Georgia just didn't execute big. I mean, yeah, Georgia put up more yards, but a couple turnovers, back way to fourth down. Did Georgia miss Carson Beck? Honestly, I'm not sure Carson Beck makes that much of a difference. Partly because Georgia's offensive line's so bad. The right tackle went out. There were guys going in and out. And nobody could make plays to Georgia. Trevor Etienne, where were you? Were you in the witness protection program all night? 11 carries, 38 yards. I mean, Smith called that one 67-yard pass, but frankly, was not a great Georgia performance. And a lot of it is to Notre Dame, Freeman and the Irish were ready. There were questions when the Irish lost Riley Mills, a great defensive tackle against Indiana. Whether Notre Dame could handle Georgia physically. Well, not only could the Irish handle Georgia physically, I think they even got in Georgia's head, which is something. I mean, Al Golden might not have been the greatest head coach when he was at Miami, but he's a good defensive coordinator. I mean, how good was he then? I mean, Riley Leonard. I mean, only threw for 90 yards, but 14 big carries. I think he had like a 30-something yard run in there. And I mean, Price only got 37 yards. Jeremiah Love only rushed 6 times. Hopefully, the knee injury is not bad, where he could play against Penn State next week. This week, Faison caught 4 passes. I mean, neither team really put up anything. Anything. I think Stockton ended up being sacked in the end of the second quarter, but a couple fumbles, and then all of a sudden. And I mean, for Georgia, everybody talks about SC dominance and how Notre Dame is over the century in big college BCS/college football games or games against great competition. The Irish can't beat Alabama, can't beat Georgia, can't beat Ohio State, can't beat Clemson. Well, Notre Dame can put an end to that crap tonight. I mean, I didn't think Marcus Sweem was a great coach. I thought he was a great recruit. Well, the play he did, pulling the old switcheroo was what Kirby Smart has done to everybody, even Nick Saban. I mean, for Georgia, question is what might have been if Carson Beck plays. Ryan Leonard didn't need to be great. Well, you know what? If your team's sacking the other quarterback and you're able to run the ball enough, control the line of scrimmage, hey, you know what? Game manager. I mean, Trent Dilfer. If Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson could win Super Bowls, heck, Riley Leonard could end up winning a natty in the ATL, baby. But for Georgia, the offensive line was a big issue coming into this season. It lost Brock Bowers, Lane McConkey, the NFL draft. And literally, Georgia's wide receivers, A, couldn't catch a cold in Alaska, or B, using my favorite golf terminology, they couldn't hit water, they fell off a boat. I mean, come on, Georgia. Every time, seemingly, a ball is right to a Georgia receiver, they drop it. Dropping. And, SEC is no longer in the best conference. Well, I mean, there's only one SEC team left, and that team lost to Georgia twice. I mean, there are two Big Ten teams left, and Notre Dame, which plays more like a Big Ten team. So, SEC still might be the best conference. I mean, was Georgia a little overrated this year? Probably. Was Georgia the best team in the SEC? Yes. Did they play a difficult schedule? Yes, but this was not a great Georgia team. Everybody's going to compare it with the 21, 22 teams. You can't compare Georgia with those great teams. With the transfer portal, NIL, teams are not going to be the same. We're not going to have, I mean, it's not going to be, 2001 Miami with 47 pros, 03 SC. See right now. These teams aren't going to have the same. And by the way, I wonder how Brian Kelly feels because he left Notre Dame to be the head coach at LSU. Well, tonight, Marcus Freeman did what Brian Kelly couldn't do, and that's beat an SEC program, oh yeah, in the state of Louisiana. Instead of go Tigers, it's go Irish. And so Notre Dame heading to the Orange Bowl. Orange Bowl. I wonder how many. I wonder how many Irish. As someone who lived on the East Coast for 3 years, I wonder how many Irish fans will be in Miami Gardens next week. Of course, Penn State will have something to say about that. That'll be a fun game. Notre Dame and Penn State. I mean, Georgia's going to beat Georgia. I mean, maybe they have to get more wide receivers, but Georgia will be back. I mean, you look at Georgia's schedule next year. They get Alabama and Texas at home. Go to Rocky Top the third, I think the third game of the year. But Georgia doesn't play a difficult non-conference schedule like in previous years. Yeah, they don't have Texas going to Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Death Valley. So maybe Georgia will end up. Maybe I didn't think Georgia will end up being just fine. But for the Irish, when they lost to Northern Illinois, that would have eliminated them in most years. Now they're 2 wins away from winning their first national championship since 1988. I wasn't even alive when Notre Dame won that natty. I mean, Marcus Freeman, could he be the coach? I mean, you know, wasn't it Lou Holtz's third year when the Irish won the national championship? When Marcus Freeman's third year? Notre Dame's 2 games away from repeating effort. All the great Notre Dame coaches could end up winning year 3. That'd be something, right? I mean, from a neutral standpoint, I think Notre Dame's going to bring in higher ratings. I think people are sick and tired of the SEC dominance. So, you know, Notre Dame, I mean, is there a bigger program in college football? Maybe, oh, wait, the Ohio State University coming off a convincing showdown win over Oregon in Pasadena. Um, Before I tell you what I've thought about Oregon, Ohio State's the best team in the country, and I don't think I've seen the team play 2 better games than that in forever. I mean, Ohio State made one in 41-21, and be honest with you, it didn't even feel that close. Ohio State got up 34-0 in the second quarter and just put it on cruise control. Jeremiah Smith was uncomfortable. I mean, looked like he was going to break Jackson Smith and Jacobs Rose Bowl receiving yard record, but 45 yards, 7. Buka, 42 yards, 14-0. Jeremiah Smith, Trayvon Henderson, bam, bam. Ohio State up 34-0. Then Oregon finally got things going. Trayshawn Holden scoring late in the second quarter. Noah Winnington made it 34-15. But then Trayvon Henderson, frankly, all but sealed it with a late third quarter touchdown. And then Holden got a garbage time touchdown, but the game was over. And Ohio State just kicked Oregon's butt. Ohio State's always got the talent. They just need a chip on their shoulder. I love 2014 when the Buckeyes last won the Natty. I don't know if anybody could beat Ohio State if they played like that. Will Howard, 17-26, 319, 3 scores. Rushed the ball for 181 yards. Smith with 187. Abuka 72. It was just a dominant performance over the number 1 team in the country. And frankly, I feel sorry for Dylan Gabriel. He tied the NCAA passing touchdown record, but was under so much stress. I think Oregon gave up like almost half the amount of sacks it gave up the previous 13 games against the Buckeyes. Oregon could not protect. And The Ducks were not blessed with a great injury report. Jordan James left the game early. I think Oregon's top receiver was out, but I don't think it mattered. Ohio State was not only good, but better. But frankly, this game should not have been a quarterfinal game. Oregon was 100% screwed. With no reseeding procedure. How could Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State get home games and Oregon didn't? And Oregon played Ohio State when Penn State's rode to Miami. Is SMU and Boise State? Come on, come on, selection committee. You're better than that. Don't get the number one. Don't give the number one team the hardest path. You should reward them. Yeah, we're going to give the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Buffalo Bills. No, you shouldn't give them the hardest path. The number one seed should get the easiest path. And also, enough with these teams having 3.5 weeks. They could have played games December, the 2 Saturdays in December before Christmas, maybe have the Rose Bowl. Oh, heck, maybe end the season, January 1st, where you're not competing with the NFL players. And secondly, potentially quarterfinal games on campus. I know it might change the bowl system, but there's a way you can have, the Kansas City Chiefs earn home field advantage because they're the best team in the AFC. The team that wins the Vikings-Lions game on Sunday night will earn home field advantage, so that should be a reward. Minnesota or Detroit won't have to play games at Lambeau. But frankly, Ohio State finally looking like a $20 million team and the favorite to win everything in Atlanta. I wouldn't be surprised that line's like 7 or 8 for the Goodyear Cotton Bowl between Ohio State and Texas. Coming off a nail-biting squeaker over Arizona State, 39-31. Did anybody have Arizona State, Texas turn into a classic? Not in my calculator, but I must say that was a whale of a job by Kenny Dillingham getting his troops ready. I mean, they ran 97 plays, while Texas only ran 60 plays. Arizona State put up over 500 yards of offense, 10 of 24 on third down, and just made plays, controlled the clock over 37 minutes. Maybe my favorite play in college football. Ball. Touch it and carried it 30 times, caught 8 more passes. And he threw a touchdown on 4th and 4 yesterday. But, for Texas, I know the Longhorns won, but Quinn Hughes is the reason why the game was close. In a bad way. Not a good way, a bad way. I mean, Quinn Hughes and Texas should have won that game by 20-something points, and yet misses too many throws, bad pick. Made 2 great throws at the end, the 4th and 13, and then the touchdown to Gunnar Helm in overtime. But I don't think Quinn Hughes is 100% healthy, and Ravoy Sports Podcast says could be Arch Manning's SEC next year. It will be Arch Manning's team next year because Arch Manning is going to be the quarterback of Texas. I wish he were the quarterback against Ohio State. He might have a chance to win that game. Texas keeps up the SEC's tradition of winning playoff games in the Peach Bowl, and Texas becomes the first team, I believe, ever to win the Cotton Fiesta Peach, Rose, Sugar, and Orange Bowl. Not bad. And heck, maybe the best thing that happened for Texas is that Georgia's out because they don't have to worry about Georgia. They don't have to play them 3 times. They're going to play somebody else. And for Arizona State, a lot of people thought Arizona State shouldn't have gotten a bye, shouldn't have even been in the playoff. Well, Kenny Dillingham, the Sun Devils came to play, and Scatterball showed what he could do. I think Sam Leffen showed a lot of potential despite the interception at the end. I mean, made some throws and runs. I mean, and frankly, I was surprised how many Arizona State fans came to Atlanta. I mean, it was incredible the support there. I mean, Tempe, Arizona State's a sneaky good program. The program got a lot of money, and everybody likes warm weather. And Tempe, Arizona's pretty much warm all year. I mean, I mean, maybe in the Big 12 on a dominant program, great young coach. Maybe Arizona State could do what they did in the '90s with Jake the Snake, but for Texas, they survive and advance a la Jimmy V and the '83 Wolfpack, but there are a lot of issues. Win Hughes doesn't look right. Texas only rushed the ball for, what was it, 53 yards. They did nothing on the ground. Arizona State rushed the ball for 214 yards. And frankly, Texas offensive line couldn't really establish a running game or protect Hughes all that well. If not for McHugh's interception at the end of the second overtime, maybe maybe Arizona State wins that game. Maybe they make one stop in overtime. But Texas survive and advance, and now Texas will play the Buckeyes in Arlington, Texas. So potentially more orange, even though I expect a few Ohio State fans in Arlington. That's like Ohio State will be just fine playing in Arlington next week. And then Penn State and Boise State, really no contest in this game. I mean, everybody's going to compare Boise with the Chris Peterson teams of other 2007 or like 2010 or year that beat Arizona. Frankly, other than Ashon Janty, this Boise State team wasn't all that great. I mean, Janty didn't even have a great game. Got over 100 yards, but fumbled a couple times. Frankly, Boise State looked overmatched in this game. I mean, Maddox Matson threw 3 picks and really under quite a bit of duress in this game. I think Penn State sacked him 3 times, 9 total tackles for loss, and I mean, could Vincent win for the Nittany Lions? I mean, Drew Aller only threw for 171. Who cares? I mean, Nittany Lions rushed the ball for over 260 yards. K-Twan Allen over 100. Nick Singleton for 87 and a touchdown. Tyler Warren, he only caught 2 touchdowns. Amari Evans caught 1. And defensively, it was just dominant. I mean, despite actual Florida leading, Penn State just kept harassing. And big question when Happy Valley, will Abdul Carter be ready for the semifinal game against Notre Dame? Remember, the Nittany Lions played Tuesday, so they'll have 36-hour advantage. So who knows what happens with Carter? But that's going to be a big story. Carter's availability will be a big storyline for the semifinal game. I mean, against Larry Leonard, Carter's sacks, pressure, and run ability will be huge against Leonard's scrambling. And for Boise State, unbelievable story. I hate Ashton John Canty's college career ending like it did did New Year's Eve. But I didn't really see a lot of creativity. I think Boise State lacked aggressiveness and weapons to make plays. So, do we have the right four teams in the semifinals? No. I mean, you could argue that Oregon should be there, but we've got two amazing games looking forward to next week. Penn State, Notre Dame. I mean, two programs I have waited a long time for a game like this. Penn State has won a national championship since what, 86? Came close to 94. Notre Dame has won since 88. 88. So, and then Ohio State and Texas. In fact, Ohio State and Texas will travel to Columbus to start off 2025 next year. So slightly more at stake next Friday night in Arlington. Might be different quarterbacks playing that game and a few players. But, for Ohio State, not just Jeremiah Smith, but Caleb Downs. Ooh, I wish both of those guys were available in this draft. Downs and Smith are probably better than anybody in this draft. I mean, my goodness. Jeremiah Smith's better. I think Jeremiah Smith would be the one-on-one in this draft, without a doubt. He's like, Jeremiah Smith's like Terrell Owens, Megatron, Julio. Oof. Do we have to wait? It's like, what? Do we have to wait 2 more years before somebody can draft Adrian Peterson, or somebody can draft Jamar Chase, or somebody can draft Herschel Walker? That guy's a pro playing in college. Caleb Downs a pro playing college. Even if safeties don't go high, Caleb Downs is more than a safety. He could be a corner if need be. So, congrats to Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State. Should be an amazing semifinal. Should be 2 amazing semifinal games. Hopefully more competitive than most of these games. But, sometimes, even March Madness produces 30-point blowouts, but we still watch the games. So, thanks for tuning into the stream. We will be back with more Driving to Top Productions and the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube pages. But this is the Big D himself signing off for now.